Our next speaker helps purpose-based leaders improve their results and effectiveness by simplifying their approach. He shows that it's far more important and effective to bring things like love, joy, and happiness to one's life and business than creating big versions that sounds good but are hard to share. By the way, we did before this podcast, we did one with Joey, and it's funny because in just 5 minutes he was able to help me understand what's my purpose in life. It's amazing. And if you're a local executive out there, a business entrepreneur, and you want to better understand your business focus and purpose, it's really important that you need to listen to this topic because this is important. The guest and speaker is the podcast host of What's Your Purpose? And he lives in Northern California with his wife and son. Versopreneurs, we're honored to have us our speaker, Joey Chandler. Hello, Joey.
Thank you so much for having me back. Love this.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing us your time. And I know you're a really busy person. And by the way, what do you do again to set perspective to things and people would understand your expertise?
Yes, I'm a purpose coach. And basically what that means is I help people figure out who they are and what they're about. And what I'm known for is helping people really simplify their approach to purpose so that they can bring it to more places in their life.
What's exciting to all our listeners that Joey has processed more than 1,000 experts to understand their purpose. How do you do it, Joey?
Well, I would suggest going back to listen to the conversation that we had. It's based on basically asking two questions. It's when you interact with people, how do you want them to feel, and how would you say that when you were 10 or 12? And there's a little bit more to that, but that's the basic idea. And it all comes down to the idea that we have a purpose that's in us. It's part of a spirit, a soul, and energy. I don't know the answer to that, but for whatever reason, it's part of who we are. And we have this true self that is just screaming to come out. And there's all these reasons that get in the way of it. And what I've been able to see and been able to tap into is just helping that true self come out. And because when a person lands on their word, like you landed on happy, that you smile, their energy goes up and they're able to just really be their authentic self.
Now, with COVID-19 impacting a lot of businesses, is your business also affected by it?
Oh, absolutely. Everything is everything's thrown up in the air. Lots of worry and concern, and honestly, where the challenge I'm running into is that people are worried and concerned, and so they're locked down. And for the most part, the idea of purpose seems very lofty and something that you'll get to once you kind of have everything managed. Mm-hmm. But what I am showing people is that knowing who you are is really helpful in these uncertain times. Being able to wake up each day and say, okay, you're about happiness, I'm about greatness. Being able to wake up and say, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, really, really helps when everything that or you thought or you took for granted to be, quote, certain is up in the air right now. And also because it was funny, I was scheduling someone out like 2 weeks. It was this week I was scheduling a meeting like 2 weeks from now. And that just felt like forever. It was too far to even imagine 2 weeks. True. And now we're just like, we just have to do what's right in front of us. And what I teach people and what's been really, honestly, really helping me is I wake up each morning, I say, how can I help myself experience more of my purpose? Because you got to take care of yourself first. And then how can I help others experience more of it? And what I find is the back and forth between those two questions allow me to just keep moving forward and actually be really productive in these very challenging times.
COVID-19 has more or less changed the way we're doing business. In your own opinion, as a purpose coach, an intentional purpose coach, how do you think COVID-19 is changing the way everyone's doing business?
Well, I think it's changing. I don't know what the end change will be. I'll say that. I think it's forcing us to get very clear on what it is that we offer. I think people are too stressed, too worried, too concerned, too overwhelmed to deal with any fluff. They want to
Mm.
know what you can do for them right now. And if that's something that really will help them out, they'll be willing to pay for it. But until you really show that, it's not going to happen. And we have to be authentic. There, people are not, the BS meters were already wound really tight, and now it's just impossible. If you're being inauthentic right now, people are going to, just one, you're not going to be able to do it because there's so much stress and worry that trying to be somebody you're not right now, you're just going to collapse under the
Mm.
pressure. So we have to be more authentic. Our customers are demanding us be more authentic and be real and straight. And I think that's a good thing. The interesting part is what will happen, of course, when we go back to whatever normal is, or we create the new normal. How will we maintain this? Because there's a lot of things I think people really like in this time. It's slowed down a bit. We're having deeper conversations with people. We're getting clear on what's important to us. And my big question, and I don't know the answer, and maybe you do, is how are we going to maintain that when the new normal is kind of there?
Wow. Now, if you're a because I know you're also doing some consultancy to all of your audience. If they're asking you, Joey, uh, I have a brick and mortar business, and I'm really trying to find ways to really survive right now. What would you more or less suggest as an action plan?
Well, the first thing is you get clear on your purpose, like who are you and what are you really about? And I think the tough part is that you have to let go of the past. You have to let go of whatever you thought your business was or whatever plans you had. You kind of have to assume that those are gone. And then it's a question of, okay, what can we do with this situation? An example I had, and this isn't a brick and mortar store, but I was talking to a client and a friend who is a marriage officiant. What he does is
Marriage?
a
Oh,
marriage
efficient. Okay,
officiant.
marriage. Okay.
He's the person that would if you wanted to get married, you could hire him. And
Yeah.
he's part of the wedding industry in Northern
Leadership.
California. And obviously all of his weddings, and it's you can
Cancel.
imagine it's really hard. It's hard for everybody in that world, but all of his weddings were gone. Just gone. And he was like, I don't know what to do. And he's about love. That's his thing. And we just started thinking about it. And we said, okay, people still want to get married. And so then we started talking about how could he be a wedding officiant for Zoom weddings. And,
Ooh, okay.
you know, and honestly, I don't know. I can't say that that's going to be a successful business or not. But in accepting the way things are now, he was able to start to see possibilities and start to see options. I think if you're trying to pull how things were and try to keep those going, is going to be more difficult. If you accept the way things are now and then say, what can I create and how can I serve people inside of that, then there's some more opportunities. There's a lot of restaurants right now that have become wine shops or become a general store in San Francisco. I don't know if that's enough to replace their entire business. I'm not going to say that, but those are people that are thinking of, okay, what can we do now? What services, what can we provide now inside of this new that we're creating?
Mm. Now, there are a lot of brick and mortar business owners also out there who are really stuck in their homes, can't do anything because their business is really affected. In your opinion, what are the things that they can do to be more effective and productive this time?
Well, on a client, like, in terms of like kind of staying in touch with clients, I'd pick up the phone and call as many clients as you can just to see how they're doing. Hey, if you have phone numbers, if you have emails, Zoom, whatever you can do just to say, hey, I'm here, I'm thinking of you if you need any help. Because right now people are feeling lonely. People are feeling stuck. And if you as the business person can even just provide an ear for somebody to talk to, that will move that forward. Again, I don't know if that's going to be enough to replace your entire business, but that is something that you can do. The other thing that I'm finding really effective in terms of improving our self-care and taking care of ourselves is putting in some really good routines. I honestly wasn't great at routines until all of this started, but since we've been into shelter in place, and this was 5 weeks ago,
Mhm.
I do a morning routine, a workout at 8 o'clock every morning, and I do a 9 a.m. check-in call. So I wake up in the morning, I ask myself, what's my purpose and how can I help myself and others experience it? I do a little bit of work, and then at 8 o'clock, I do a workout, and I call it the grab your junk workout. And
Mhm.
what happens is I go into my garage, I pick something out. Maybe it's a tennis racket or a tripod or a uh, basketball. It's something, a piece of luggage, and I do a 20-minute workout with it. And it gets you creative, it gets you moving, and it makes you laugh. And this I'm finding is really, really important and really powerful. The power of humor. I know I had lost it before this. I think I never really appreciated how important humor is. And I'm starting to study. There's all this research that I really didn't know about, that laughter and humor increases blood flow. It makes you more positive, and it incorporates your whole body. You know, when you have a good laugh, a good belly laugh,
Yeah.
it 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 does something to your whole body that I never really appreciated.
Yes.
And just as an example, we were doing this exercises with a tennis racket. I'm not a tennis player, but we were doing the thing where we were like, high swat and then fast feet, and high swat and fast feet. And we were doing that. And then I said, okay, switch hands. And by the way, I've started doing this on Zoom, so anybody can join us. I have people all over the country now that are coming, and we're doing these workouts. But I switched to my left hand, and I started swatting, doing a high swat with my left hand, which felt totally awkward and totally ridiculous. And it just made me laugh. And it opened up my day, and it just allowed me to get present and have fun and really dive in. And I think right now, having a system in place that fosters humor and laughter and connection for you is really, really powerful and really, really important.
You also mentioned earlier that it's really important time for us to revisit our purpose. Can
Yep.
you expand on that? How can we revisit our purpose right now?
Well, I think it's the one thing that you absolutely can know. Right now, you don't know if your business is going to exist tomorrow. You don't know if your clients are going to be able to buy from you. There's a lot of things that we don't know.
Mhm.
But you can always wake up once you identify your purpose, and once you get clear on it, and as you practice it more, you can wake up and say, okay, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, and now what can I do to help myself experience more of that? What can I do to help others experience more of that? And that will give you some stepping stones, some baby steps that you can take each and every day. And I'm honestly really learning. I didn't really appreciate this component of purpose until all of this happened, because as we're contracting and as things are getting smaller and smaller, I
Mhm.
realized that being able to say, okay, I'm about love or I'm about joy, you can bring that to no matter how big or small the situation is. And when you get clear on who you are, you're just able to do it. And that just gives you a foundation to keep moving. And right now, it's nobody knows the answers. If someone says like this is exactly how it's going to go, I can't believe them. I know I can't say that. But what we do know is what we can do today, maybe what we can do tomorrow, and keep moving forward.
Joey, you're also a very good mentor in terms of how can people con- uh, convey their purpose to become intentional. Can you share us a quick tip on how to be intentional about the purpose that we have?
Yeah, share it. Talk to people about it. One of the best things you can do, for the listeners, if you haven't listened to our previous conversation, go
Mhm.
back and listen, and you'll see that Ruben identified himself as about being happy. And what I would invite you to do is to go talk to people about what happiness means to you. And because you also said it was about helping people and growth and family and celebration and connection, you can share that with people, and you can say, hey, I realize that I talked to this guy, and I realize I'm about people being happy, and this is what it means to me. And then you can say, out of curiosity, what does happiness mean to you? and you let people talk and just listen to what happiness means, because it's going to mean something different to them, because their thing may not be happiness. That's your thing. And you're just going to talk. And then you can also ask, and what gets in the way of you experiencing happiness? And they're going to tell you some more about their life. And so you're going to know more and more about their life. And then that will allow you to more powerfully express who you are and share it in a way that actually they can actually lands powerfully for them. But this all starts by simply being able to share your purpose. I say that you should know your purpose so well that you can share it over drinks with friends. And so you practice. And it just takes work. You got to go, you practice with the quote safe people, and then maybe you practice with a little more important person, and then an important client, or somebody else. But it just takes practice.
Now, those tips and insights that you were able to give us today are really helping all our local businesses owners who's listening right now. By the way, do you have any last words for those entrepreneurs listening to us right now?
One, thank you for listening. That's the most, just appreciate it, because we couldn't do this without the people listening, of course.
Yeah.
And thank you for organizing all this, Ruben. I want to say that. And I think the main thing to do is to stay focused on who you are and keep trying to expand that so that you can bring more of that to yourself and more of that to others. I've talked to, in the past 3 weeks, I probably talked to 15 different people who say they know their purpose through my podcast. And one of the things that comes up over and over again, when I ask the same question at the end of the day, what are some final thoughts? And it's pretty amazing how people say over and over again, figure out who you are, take care of yourself, and then take care of other people. So make sure that you're not getting stretched too thin. Do what you got to do to stay healthy, to laugh some, to really get grounded in yourself. Because from that place, you're really going to be able to help other people. If you don't have that, you're going to burn out, and that won't help anyone.
I think we should emphasize that last words. You said, know yourself, take care of yourself, and before taking care of others. That should be the way things in order.
And if I could just you made me think of one last thing on this, and this
Sure.
is why knowing your purpose is so powerful. See, now you could go out and you could start to think of what are some habits and routines that really have me be happy. And you could start to think, a lot of people have a hard time working out, right? Mm-hmm. And now you could say, when you know your purpose, you can think of how can I bring my purpose to this workout, or how can I create the workout in such a way that helps me experience my purpose? And so it feeds it back and forth. And the more that understand who you are and what you're about, you can create habits and routines that help you be more of you, rather than creating the habits and routines that you're, quote, supposed to, or that an expert says. Because all of this is about creating what works for you. And what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. And we all have to figure out what works for us and to keep doing more of that so that we can be our best selves, so that we can help other people.
Be the best version of ourselves to help other people. Wow. Those are powerful words. Because we can never really help others if we're not at our full power at some point.
Yeah. I mean, we can help people for a little bit, but at some point, the trajectory goes down, and we will suffer. And I don't think it does any good for us to suffer in service of other people if we're not fulfilling ourselves.
Thank you very much, Joey, for that insightful and actionable tips you've shared today. And I hope those who have listened to us right now, the tips and strategies Joey shared to us can move us through these hard times. Thank you very much, Joey.
Thank you.
Entrepreneurs, live the great life.